What's up? What's up? Sis Talk Sessions. It is about to begin. So excited here. Hello, virtual diary. Hello, Mr. Francis. Request to join, and I will let you in. How are you doing today? My boo-boo, drink some water. Thank you.
Hey, Miss Louise, how
How
you
you
doing?
doing? Y'all call me
I'm
Miss
doing.
Lewis. Call me Cat. How you doing?
I'm
Well, I got water. My daughter just made me some water.
got you. Well, I'm at my sister-in-law's house, and it's her fiance's birthday, so they have me in the basement.
You know, she always fussing at me, talking about I'm not gonna be ready. I said I'm gonna be ready. And
She told me you was gonna be late.
so you know what? I think she owed me a free brunch since I wasn't late.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I might need to come. I might need to come down and join y'all for that.
Right.
It's a quick ride from New York. I'm not worried about it.
I know that's right. Oh, you're in New York. What part?
Yes, Bronx, New York.
Oh, the Bronx. Oh,
Yeah.
never been. Oh, that's right. Cause that's where she from, the Boogie Down Bronx. I forgot.
We grew up a block away from each other.
You got a request to join. Oh, there we go. I see you, FJ.
We grew up a block away from each other. We've known since first grade. Literally, probably my oldest friend.
Oh,
Yeah, that's my sister.
nice.
She's not. That's family right there. Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
what's going on, family?
What's up, baby? That's it.
We good? Oh, I like the new hair. We looking real good on camera. Of
Well,
course,
that's
I
that.
have the
As
help
they
of my
say, that's good
teenagers.
black.
Maya,
Huh?
well, yesterday, you know, for my other talk, I didn't want to be late. So
Just
I
because
only
that's
had
what you didn't want doesn't mean that's not what
in my
happened,
head.
though.
Huh?
Just because that's not what you wanted doesn't mean, that's not what
No,
happened, I'm
he didn't
sure.
know me like that, so I had to pull it together quickly, and I didn't want to be late. So, you know, I didn't want it to be the late teacher talk show. Because you know I was always on time for work.
When?
I can call you Rudy, right?
Of course you can.
Okay. Now I didn't know what formality you have to be in.
If you didn't call me that, I'd be
Rudy,
wondering why not.
Don't let her take. Don't let her take.
And what should I call you? What should I call you?
Catherine, whatever you
Cat?
want to call
Okay.
me. You know.
Gotta call you Cat then. Okay, no problem.
I am on. Make sure they don't start my funeral on time. Okay, just make sure. Yeah.
Please don't, because she's not going to be there. She's not going to be there.
Hey, look, I understand. They gotta wait for you for the arrival, for the grand presentation, and let them know what it's all about.
Yeah.
And now
I'm not mad.
And now you're family.
I love it. So I just want to start this out by saying thank you so much, Rudy, for joining us in this conversation that we always have called Sis Talk Sessions. And the reason why I started this is because I really think that the conversations that Freeman Jones and I would have on the sidelines and the conversations that we have with our girlfriends, I really think everybody needs to hear this. So, and at the same time, while we're talking to our girlfriends, we are learning from each other. So,
of course.
And especially if you are a woman, the key to being successful is to having people around you that are wiser than you. So Freeman Jones, since I met her, okay, she was just so filled with wisdom and an inspiration to me. I'm so serious, Rudy. I know this is your childhood friend, but I'm gonna have to be a friend stealer and steal my friend, because she has been such an inspiration and a wealth of knowledge for me growing as a woman. You know, she met me when I was wearing flip-flops in the classroom. You know what I'm saying?
Well, she's not a friend to me. She's my sister. She's not a friend to me. She's my sister. She used to walk me to school and things of that nature.
I know.
I'm too young to remember certain things.
First grade.
I love it.
First grade.
Iron sharpens iron, so you know that's why I'm here with the two of you, because I get better too. So people are joining. Shout out to those who are joining in. I know a lot of people said that they wanted to hop on, so I guess they're coming on in. Say hello to us in the chat.
I just saw my cousin Kimani join. Thank you, Key. I appreciate it. From Detroit.
Send some hearts, send some hellos when you join in, so we know that you're here with us.
Yes, hello. I'm trying to, you know, press the button as we go on. But as we have, okay, so thank you all. And Freeman Jones, you know, it's hard for me to call her AKFree. I have to remember.
You call me Freeman Jones.
Okay, yeah, because, you know.
I don't want to confuse you.
Rudy, I'm from the country too, Rudy, so.
That's okay. I like the country. I got the country in me. My grandmother got the country in me, so I love the country. My wife keep calling me Geechee.
Oh, I know what that is. Yeah. So, you know, we're gonna get into this, and it's so great because I have two New Yorkers, and we got some Southern hospitality on here. So we are, folks, opening up, and we're talking about cheating. We're unpacking cheating. And instead of having it just a girlfriend talk, we open up the stage, right, for Rudy to come and give his perspective, being a married man. And prior to him being married, he was a single man. So Rudy, I'm gonna let you give your introduction before we get into this whole concept of cheating and why you think you're so qualified, sir, to have a conversation about this with us.
Let's see. Okay, I'm 50 years old, been married 20 years, been with my wife for 24. I'm F&F, fat and fine. You don't see that a lot nowadays. It takes a lot of, y'all don't appreciate me being this fluffy and then looking this good. And I'm mad at y'all for not acknowledging that. But yeah, she's literally, I can say, the love of my life, my wife. You know, she accepts me with all my craziness the way I accept her with all her crazy. Never had an interest in nobody else. Never had an interest in doing anything like that. So that's why it's like, it's when I hear guys do it and they tell me their reasons why, I look at them like, wow, really? So that's what it was. It was that easy. You know, and then you got some guys that just, they'll do it, but they genuinely love their wife. But we'll get into that.
Because we got some married brothers in here, Rudy. I see the great Dr. Baldwin. I'm going to call him Dr. Baldwin. And
that's you in the house.
And the whole legacy life, love, that is my good girlfriend's husband. And he's 22 years in the game, married. Happily married folk on here. And Mr. Baldwin probably been married for 45 years with his wife.
God bless. God bless. God bless. God bless.
And,
shout out to my sis Asia. I'm here at her house. We're going to be celebrating her birthday when the show is over. So I'm here in her basement. Thank you, Asia. Love you. See you guys in about an hour.
Happy birthday, Asia. Happy birthday, Asia. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and both of y'all in the basement.
Yeah,
both in the basement.
Both in the basement. Both in the basement. But see, you showing off. You uppity. You upstairs.
Who's ghetto?
I know how you country folk is.
So shout out to Asia, the birthday girl. Just want to say that we love you. I love you. you know, and it was no, it wasn't Crystal's birthday. Hey, Crystal.
Hey,
So,
Chris.
so let's get into it. First and foremost, because I know we only have an hour. But first and foremost, let me offer my good old Southern perspective first. So the first question, when we start talking about cheating, and I'm gonna be very short with this, I look at a lack of discipline. I need to find out when I'm dating, because I'm not married on this call, on this session, all right? I was in a long relationship, over a decade-long relationship, and I never really had an issue of cheating, right? When I was younger, I was cheated on, right? But I never experienced it to the point of it tearing my relationship apart, right? But I was a hairdresser, Rudy, for a minute, almost since I was in the 8th grade, all the way up to when I was 26. And I heard a lot of stories and counseled a lot of people, a lot of my friends and clients. But I will say this. I think cheating is about discipline, right? I have been a witness to a lot of marriages, and great marriages, and some men in those cases have stepped out, but that did not mean that they were not great men because they stepped out, made a mistake, or was weak in a certain area, and even created another relationship with another woman. All right. So I think it's about A, what the woman is willing to tolerate, B, what type of man you have in your vicinity, and C, how disciplined he is to stick to the monogamous piece. So I think cheating is a discipline. And if you are not disciplined, then you are prone to cheat. And that's the kind of man I want to stay away from. So,
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I agree with you on that. And I agree with you on that. I mean, it depends upon the man. I mean, I know married men that have cheated because they just had the luxury of that they can do it, and wound up having kids outside the marriage. I know men that have done it, and I know men that haven't done it. And I know men that done it because they says, well, my wife wasn't, we weren't being, intimate, and they done it. I've heard of a host of different reasons why they do it. Me personally speaking, it's too much work. Like I told a friend of mine, I said, it's too much work. They get the good you. They get the clean drawers. They get the breath that smells good. They don't see you waking up in the morning looking crazy. They don't get the attitude. They get all of that. But they don't see the real you, but your spouse does. And that's what people don't realize. It takes work. Marriage is work. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And some guys do it for different reasons. You got guys that do it because they say they want to keep getting those notches on their belt. They feel like they're missing something at home, or maybe, I've known guys that's like, look, I love my wife, I'm not leaving her, but we're not being intimate the way I would like. And I've seen them do it because of that. I know somebody who was doing it because his wife wouldn't do certain things for him sexually as much as he would like, but the other person was, so he was doing it with them. And I'm sitting up here saying, so you're not complaining that she's not doing it. You're complaining that she's not doing one specific thing. I said, if that's not her thing, just don't understand why you would do that. Now you're the captain of the team too much. and so you have guys that do it for different reasons, but in the end, sometimes I believe it could be selfish reasons, because like you said, it is a choice. I mean, I've had women that offered and did this, and I declined. And it's like, and it's just like, I'm like, look, I said, my woman would kill me and you. Let's understand that. But like me and my wife always says, we don't have to worry about the other person. We got to worry about each other.
That's right.
What are you doing? What type of energy are you giving out that person feels that comfortable that they can do that and everything? So I think it also depends on what the person gives out to another person. Because if you entertain it, affairs and everything start from conversations. It don't start from just saying, oh, we just going to jump in the bed. It starts from conversations. So you got to really think about what it is that leads up to it. and the dynamic of your marriage. And that's my honest belief on it.
Yeah.
So,
here we go.
So I definitely think discipline. I agree with the idea that maintaining monogamy is a form of discipline. However, what we don't like to talk about when it comes to our marriages or just significant others, because not everyone chooses to get married, that there are challenges to that monogamy that challenge the discipline. So I know Catherine and I have talked about this before. For me, cheating is not a deal breaker because I think you can work through that. I think you can work through just about anything. And I say just
Except
about
for
because
abuse. Except for abuse.
Except for abuse. I was going to say there's some outliers that's some non-negotiables, but I think that you could work through anything. So infidelity to me is not a deal breaker. But what I think we missed the opportunity to talk about, which is how Catherine and I came to have this conversation and call it unpacking cheating, is because we just want to park at he or she, because we keep talking about the man cheating, but women can cheat too and have, that we just park at the act, right? We parked at the behavior and we never unpack the behavior. We never go back and say, okay, well, what drove to this decision? Because most of us want to default to he or she cheated just out of being greedy, or we're dismissive to the why. So given the examples that the two of you gave, she's not being intimate with me anymore. That is a big deal. Like, we can't be dismissive about your partner, not desiring you anymore or just deciding, because I'm not talking about health issues and things like that. I am talking about if your partner stops doing their part, right?
And don't want to give up the hot pocket.
Right, then that's something we have to unpack and talk about, because every behavior drives to fulfill some kind of need. And so for me, let's not just park at he or she cheated. Let's kind of go back and figure out how we led to that. Now, if the person is a habitual cheater, that's still something to unpack, because I've known some people, they didn't have good examples or whatever. To your point, there are a myriad of reasons, but the thing is, we have to get to the why. We have to unpack it, and you have to own your part in it. So you cheated on me, Rudy cheats on me, but when we unpack, I don't take any ownership and what I may have contributed to why he felt like there was a disconnect in our intimacy. And cheating is emotional, it is physical, it doesn't start with the physical, as you said, but there's something missing. And we can't be dismissive and go, well, I'm just going to break up with you, or you're just a horrible man or woman, because yes, it is a choice, but what drove you to that choice? What drove you to feeling that? And I think so many relationships are thrown away because we don't want to do the serious unpacking. We don't want to go beneath the surface of the iceberg, and we don't want to take ownership to what we might have contributed to our partners seeking some kind of connection someplace else.
Okay, so I've been thinking about some points today. I need to get my notebook, Rudy, for Freeman Jones. So I gotta get my notebook, because you be dropping these gems, and I gotta make sure I'm accurate when I say certain things. So I agree with the fact that men and women cheat, but here's my thing. I'm not saying that any woman should deconstruct her family because her husband. I'm just using the man being the cheater in this instance, because men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Majority of marriages that do have infidelity are at the hands of the man. All right, statistically. All right, it is more men cheating than women when we start looking at rates of infidelity.
And I would debate that data only. I would debate that data. I'm gonna debate that data. I'm gonna debate that data.
I'm gonna debate that.
And I will send.
Men are just stupid. We just get caught.
Right.
It's like saying men don't get raped. They do, but that goes well underreported. So I think infidelity among women is grossly one, again, because maybe we're more careful or whatever, or it's just grossly underreported.
Y'all are smarter than we are.
Right.
Y'all are smarter than we are.
I want to use the man in my scenario as the man cheating, because A man cheating, y'all can stick and move. It don't really matter. Y'all don't have y'all feelings involved in the situation for most of the time, right? But a woman, if she's cheating, something is deeply wrong with the relationship. And I'm going to tell you this, because we have a vagina and we encase a man. Do you understand? So it's different from you all just inserting a penis into somebody and just pulling up, zipping up your pants and then moving on. It is a different function. And I am Southern, so I feel like, okay, that a woman, we are nurturers, okay? We are going to take care of our husbands. Many women, not all, but many women play with baby dolls when they were younger and aspire to be a bride, okay? And when you are in this position as a wife, on average, the woman is the one that is looking to take care of the children, the house, and her husband, and have her own career. But I say all that to say, if a man steps out, a lot of times it doesn't even matter if the woman is not doing certain things in the bedroom. If he is not disciplined, he's gonna do it anyways. Because
I disagree with that.
I can't ride with that.
You cannot tell me that all instances it's the reasons that the woman wasn't doing something, or the woman
it's not. It's not all the reasons. It's not all the reasons.
Men are hunters. Some men.
That's true. We are hunters. We are hunters, but it's also
discipline is not the beginning and the end. I don't think it's just, oh, you lack discipline. So it's the same we talked about with dieting, right? I could be disciplined for 3 whole months, or someone who's an addict or whatever challenges that discipline, because your discipline can be challenged. Let's not act like, we're so self-righteous, right? Like, be very clear. I'm very happily married, but there are challenges to discipline, whether it's the discipline in your marriage. Do not be dismissive and just say, oh, you just lack the discipline. And I think that's where the divide in the relationship goes, because we don't want to talk about, we just dismiss what you lack discipline, as opposed to, no, I lacked intimacy, or I lacked your comfort, I lacked your company. There was a lack there, and I don't think we should be dismissive and just say, oh, it was just your lack of discipline. No, I don't think that's fair.
I'm not saying all cases, and I agree. Go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah, it's not all cases. I think that some men, that they, like I said, they do have lack of discipline, but then it's like also that you have some men that just, we're not that bright. We're not that bright. We're not that bright. I mean, we when it comes to the hot pocket, we think differently. It changes, and it's you have guys that think with the wrong head. You do have guys that are just they don't get it. I think with me, I've always been like, when I met her, I knew that she was the one, and I was comfortable in everything. But like I said, I think and my wife always keeps telling me I'm different. So she's like, you're different from everybody else. I don't, so, and she say it, but I just think that I'm just, I just think I'm a decent dude. But it's you have to really value what you have as well. And I think some men don't value what they have, and I think that some of them do value what they have, but then they're greedy. So it's
and there's also maturity, because right now we're talking to the 50-year-old Rudy, we're talking to the 40-something-year-old Catherine, we're talking to the 50-year-old Anissa. So I think that there's also a level of maturity that happens also with men and women when they're in relationships, or it should happen, and that's a whole nother show about.
But that's another show. But my thing is also, you got to think about it. Do you want that level of drama? It's like, it's like you got to think about what comes along with it. There's stuff that comes along with it. You can't sit up here and honestly say,
no,
okay, I'm going to. A guy can't say I'm going to step out on my wife, and I'm cool with stepping out on my wife, and don't think that okay, she's not going to find out, she's not going to do this, she's not going to do that. Like I said, guys have the tendency to slip up more than women would. That's my honest opinion. That's my opinion. And when they do that, you got to think of it and say, realistically, okay, I slipped up, I did this, I did that. So you got to think of everything that comes along with it. And when everything that comes along with it is the okay, the argument, the yelling, the screaming, the crying, the this, and the whole nine. And it's like, my thing is, I enjoy being drama free. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie.
Right.
I was the first in a string of boys. I used to see the way my female cousins used to do, and I was the only child. So I see the way my female cousins did with their boyfriends and everything. And I was like, I don't want that type of smoke. I don't want none of it. I don't want to be bothered with it. I don't want that energy. And it's just me. It's just me. I remember a long time ago, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they both used to work with me when I was a store manager with Sprint. And at different times. And they told my wife, they says, you don't know how many chicks hit on him. And he just shoots them down so nicely. And it's just this, and this, and it's like, and I'm like, and they like, you know, they's like, yo, I'm like, I just don't want that energy. It's like, it's too much work.
But let
It's
me
too
ask
much
you
work.
this, Rudy. Let me ask you this in terms of, because yes, we all can get hit on or whatever. I mean, look at us. Like marriage doesn't stop you from being attractive to someone else. I think infidelity is born out of vulnerability, right? And again, I'm not talking about outliers who are just habitual, because that's a whole different psychology and unpacking that needs to happen. I think that when the discipline is challenged, when there's a vulnerable point, right? When we have left our partner or ourselves vulnerable to something. So I remember our family therapist sharing with us, my husband and I, that we always want to focus that infidelity is just with another person. And what she explained to us was that you can experience infidelity through a lot of different things. Are you married more to your kids than you are to your spouse, right? That is, it's the kids, it's the kids, it's the kids, it's the kids. Are you always chasing that dollar? You're never home. You're never home. You're this and that, you know what I mean? There are things that there are other things that can interrupt the intimacy or the connection of you and your partner. And what she explained to us is, if there's anything disrupting your intimacy, your connection, that is the thing that is the infidelity. It is not always a person. So if your kids is what's preventing you from connecting with your spouse, that's problematic, and you have left your spouse vulnerable. If it's that dollar, you always got to chase the next dollar because it's just not enough. Then that thing, I have heard, men and women particularly go, oh, his mistress is his business. His mistress is his, career, right? And we say it in jest, but the reality is that is your mistress if that's what's getting all your time, your attention, and your connection, and it's not your spouse. So again, to not be dismissive about discipline, we cannot leave our spouses vulnerable to something. And part of that is we don't want to have the hard conversations. I have heard women, your husband says to you, babe, this is what I like. This is what I would like for us to do. And it's a dismissive, no, absolutely not. And if you don't like it, that's oh well. Where's the compromise? Where's the conversation? And it doesn't mean you may wind up doing it anyway, whatever the it is. But to be dismissive to your partner's desires or emotional needs or physiological needs, you leave your partner vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, your discipline is challenged. Whether you decide to jump out there or not is very different. But you have to not leave your partner vulnerable to what may come in and be disruptive to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That amen, sister. I understand. And that's what we're here for. We're here to get the nitty-gritty and the deep perspective as to what cheating involves. So here's my rule of thumb, right? I'm not leaving you if you slip up and have an affair and you were drunk and it happened. I'm going to give you hell about it, but I'm not leaving you. I'm not going to break my family up because you made a mistake.
But are you going to let it go?
Leave you for, okay, is if you love her and there is a connection that we share with her. So those are my two distinctions. And I'm going to say, I used to say, the younger Catherine would say, oh, my deal breakers are babies, diseases, you know what I mean? But I believe everybody is owed a second chance. It just depends on the level or the severity of the cheating. All right? You're doing a Derek Jackson and you're in our bed, you got to go. Because I'm looking at your respect. And listen, I've heard many stories about my mom and their marriage, whatever, right? But I love my stepdaddy. My stepdaddy was the best man to me. He was Omega, you know. Hey, you knew what you was getting when you got it, right? but I'm just saying, you know the stereotypes. But I'm gonna tell you one thing: just because he may have, or whatever stories you all said he did when he was in his 20s and 30s, that do not tear him down as the great man that he was to his family and to me as my stepfather. So I'm not leaving you if you make a mistake. We're gonna work through it. But
so working through it, so let me ask you this, Catherine, because part of working through it is letting it go. And I just want to shout out Rambo for a second, because I love the point he just made.
That's my brother-in-law.
Hey, brother-in-law.
Hey, brother-in-law.
What he just said was, as couples, sometimes we shy away from the hard conversations. We do. We shy away from them because, we get on the defense. I don't want to make her mad. I don't want to make him mad, whatever. And what happens is then the communication is not there, and then we never resolve, and then it just continues to grow. And to his point, it becomes confrontation. And so even if confrontation is not always a bad thing, right? Like sometimes you have to confront something in order to resolve it. But if you never have the conversation, if you don't allow the person to have a voice and listen, then it gets to these kinds of things. But one of the things you talked about, Catherine, that I love, because I'm the same way. I can work through infidelity, and I expect you to work through it if it was me. I don't think it's just you, just me. It's both of us, because I think anybody's capable of such behavior. I think, though, if you're going to say, we're going to work this through, because I've seen this too many times. Okay, I'm going to stay, but you never let it go. The work in healing is you have to let it go. You can't keep beating my head, or I can't keep beating your head over you messed up. This is where the work comes in, and the work is not just on the cheater. The cheatee has to do some work as well.
The cheatee.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that, and I think that's where men have a lot of problems at, because we look at it as though you gave this person something that you should only give me, and then you, on top of that, you probably gave them more than what you usually give me. And I think that's where the problem comes in with men, that a lot of men are like, I can't let it go. I can't move on because you gave that man that energy that you're like, well, whoa, what the hell just happened? Like, you didn't give me that energy, and you gave this person that energy, and I think that's where men come in to say that they can forgive, and then they drag it on, and they keep going on and on and on and on, and it's and it could be because, and like a lot of times a lot of stuff drag on because you don't have the closure, you didn't get the answers you want, but the reality is that it is what it is. I mean, we're built different.
And sometimes the answers are not what you like, because this is what I've had to learn even for myself.
Yeah.
I would say I didn't get the answers that I want, when really I didn't get the answers that I liked. Because if my husband says, hey, I stepped out with her because you did or didn't do whatever, and I don't own that, I don't think about that or whatever, it's the answer I didn't like. It's not that I didn't get an answer. Right? So you have to be really clear. And I had to work on myself with that one, because answers I didn't like, I dismissed, and then I didn't get an answer. I did get an answer. I didn't get the answer that I liked.
And I just was comfortable.
Sometimes it's ugly. And sometimes it's ugly, and you have to be able to deal with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. So, somebody in the comments said, I am on the verge of ending my marriage. My husband kissed another woman while he was deployed in Afghanistan for a year. I cannot work through infidelity. I'm ready to throw out a 6-year marriage. So let me chime in first. All right. And here's what we got to talk about, these elements around a person cheating. I'm not even gonna say a man or a woman, right? Your husband, and this is only Catherine's perspective, your husband is away from you, so the normal marriage is not established at this time. He is deployed. I don't know how long. Oh, she said for a year. So that means that you are not in a regular routine as husband and wife. So we're human, right? And sometimes we are weak to our emotions, and we don't think things through. Now, because he kissed the woman, some people consider that cheating. Some people do not. If the actual intercourse did not happen, some people may say that that's not cheating. But it is what the other person can actually tolerate. And because she said that she cannot tolerate infidelity, right? That is something that she have to work through. Because even if her husband said, "Oh, it wasn't cheating, I just kissed her," it didn't mean nothing. But you have to also look at the feelings of the other person, and can she actually work through that? What you said earlier, Freeman Jones. I would recommend, and this is, I'm giving an unsolicited and unwarranted recommendation. I would say, do not end your marriage of 6 years because your husband kissed another woman. Because he is not. It's not like y'all together and y'all around each other every day. This man is in a different, on a different continent. And he's dealing with different things, and it's different elements, and he's missing the love and the intimacy from his wife, and things happen. I would say don't do it. I said wait till he gets back to the United States, and you all can go seek counseling before you destroy your marriage or get rid of your marriage over a kiss. That's my opinion. Yes, Rudy.
I agree with you on that. I think that's something that a dialogue needs to be made and had, that they can figure out what was, you know, what was going on and the dynamic of everything. It's you got to really get, like we all said, you got to get to the essence of what's going on, because there's something that's missing or there's something that's lacking, that a person go out and do that. And it's you got to say, okay, well, I did it for this reason, I did it for that reason, and you know. Or sometimes it might not be no reason at all. Sometimes it could just be with a guy. It could just be saying, you know, they want to get a notch on their belt. They, you know, they might feel like they want to see if they still got it, you know, whatever like that. Like I said, I've had people that I know that did it for various reasons. And, you know, some of them I look at them like, really? That's what it is? And it's surprising and amazing to me. But if that's what makes, that's what flows for them, that's what flows for them. But when it's something like that, I think you got to take the time to talk it out and work things out. I mean, communication is the key.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't. And the thing is, a lot of people, they talk to each other. They don't communicate. There's a difference.
But,
and a lot of people talk to be heard or ready to respond and defend themselves instead of saying, "Let me listen to what my spouse is saying." And that's big, because it's I know me and my wife, I went through something, and I'm not trying to put our business out there, but we went through stuff, and my wife was telling me, "Well, why never you never tell me before?" And I said, "Because you wasn't ready to hear what I had to say. You wasn't ready to listen to me." I said, "Now you're receptive to it. So now I could talk to you about certain things." And since we've done that, it's like stuff has changed and got better, you know, in the whole nine. Don't get me wrong. If you say you in a marriage for a long time and you ain't going through nothing, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. Because everybody goes through something. It just depends on how you get through it. It's not how you respond, is how you bounce back. Your bounce back is important, because some people, like you said, some people can sit up there and they can go through everything and they can hold on to it and they can keep throwing it in your face every chance they get. Throw it in your face every chance they get. But then you got some people that sit up here and say, "Okay, we're gonna work it out, we're gonna get through it, and it's water under the bridge, you move on, you don't speak about it again." It depends on what it is. My parents been married for 60 going on 61 years.
Ever.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I know most of the trials and tribulations they went through. I do recall my father moving out for like a week, and it was just one of those things like, wow, okay, you know, it's real, and the work is put in. But like I said, I know people that
60 years without that. To your point, you don't get to 60 years without going down, right?
Yeah, so exactly. But I'm putting that work in. Yeah.
So I want to offer this to that person. First of all, thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that with us. I want to honor that.
Thank you.
I want to honor that. So, I would like to say this: cheating is cheating is cheating. Whether it's the conversation, it's the thoughts, it's the kiss, it's the, you know, we want to start giving values and levels to cheating. It's cheating, right? It's something that's reserved for your partner, that you do outside of the partnership is cheating. So I wanted to put that out there. But what I want to offer to this person is to really think about it. And again, at the end of the day, what you decide to do for your health and wellness is up to you. However, my follow-up question to you, if you were in counseling with me, if I was a counselor, my question would be, why is this so easy to break up this marriage? And that's the
Yeah.
question we need to ask ourselves when people are like, well, I'm going to leave him, I'm going to leave her, whatever. Why is it just that easy for you to let me go? Why is it that easy for you to let this marriage go? Because what I have learned in meeting and talking with people, that if it took me, cheating on you, or you cheating on me, and I'm like, okay, quits and that's it, then there's something else that was brewing that was disruptive to this marriage. Because my follow-up question would be to this person, if she was saying to me, okay, I'm out, you kiss this person, my question would be, why don't you want to fight for me? Where is the fight for me? Where is the fight for us? And so I would offer to this person, why aren't you fighting? Why aren't you fighting? Because if your husband kissed this woman in Afghanistan, you're not in Afghanistan. How did you fight? Like, we can unpack so many things, which is why this is unpacking. But I'm like, where's the fight? Where is the fight for your partner, for the person you said the worse, the sicker, the poorer? Where is the fight? And so I would ask for you to dig deep, and I'm in agreement with Rudy and Catherine. Go to a counselor, get some outside help, get some spiritual, whatever it is for you all. And if it still ends that, you guys can't get past it, fine. But I'm like, where is the fight? A lot of times too many divorces occur for whatever reason, because nobody wants to fight. No, you got to fight for this thing. You got to fight to make it to 60 years. You got to fight to make it to 20, 25 years. And so my question is, sister, where's your fight?
Yeah, I agree. But sometimes the fight is not there no more. The fight been gone a long time ago. So that's another conversation that needs to be had. Because if I'm in a marriage for 6 years and my husband kissed somebody, the first thing I'm not going to is going to throw my marriage out the window for a kiss. So I don't know. We don't know the background. We don't know what's the precursor. We don't know what's the preface.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, if the fight and the light has been out a long time, then yes, pack your bags and move on to the next destination, because there is going to be a man that you're going to fight for. So, yes, Rudy. That's my
my thing is, and I agree with what you're saying, Kat. I really do. But my thing is, for somebody like me who has 20 years of being married and 24 years with her together, I'm looking at it as though this is nothing to sneeze at. You put time, energy, and effort into it. And me personally speaking, like I told my wife, I said, sometimes I know I could be a little bit, I could be the captain of the team too much, and I might be love you too much, or whatever you want to call it. But my thing is, I've always promised myself, I'm only getting married one time. And it's not saying that I can't fall in love again if we used to break up, God, whatever, like God forbid we break up. It's not saying anything like that. It's just saying, I don't want to go through when me and her met, I already had a son. I was a single father. My son lived with me. He was with me. I was raising my son. And the thing with that was that when me and her got together, I knew that one of her criteria for being with somebody was that she didn't want to have somebody who already had a child. So the fact that she chose me, that meant something to me. But then also the fact that I chose her meant something, because I needed someone to help me raise this young black man. So you have to take it into consideration, saying, me and her have 3 kids together, altogether 4. I don't want to go through that process again. I'm sorry. My thing is, I don't want to learn somebody again. I don't want to learn their body. I don't want to learn their mind, their quirks, their this, their that. Me and my wife got little things that we do that only me and her know, that we can look at each other at certain times and she knows exactly what I'm saying, and the same thing and vice versa. Do you really, and after that much time, do you really want to go through that again with somebody else? Some people have no problem with it, and that's beautiful. Knock yourself out. Me, I just want, like I said, one time for me and I'm good.
Right.
So that's why that's why I'll go the extra mile for everything. She'd be like, sometimes she'd be like, babe, you crazy. I'll be as crazy as you want. I'm only doing this one time.
But that's the work.
And that's a great element. That's a great perspective to have. But listen, sometimes she said her parents divorced after 37 years. Listen, sometimes people got time. True. Or we got time and energy to start this thing all over. So don't ever think that a lot of people, that's a great mindset for you to have, Rudy, and I applaud you on being an honorable man and an honorable brother and an honorable husband and a father. But everybody don't have that mentality. And
And so, but
sometimes,
it also then begs the question, then, Kat, also, because I read the same comment, you know, divorce after 37 years, and I've heard of situations like that too, where people stayed. So there are two questions I would ask the couple, right? First of all, why'd you get married in the first place? Because not everybody gets married for what I think are the right reasons to get married, right? And you know, that's my own thing. Like, if you got married just for the sake of love, if you got married just because you were knocked up, or you got married because you know what, my clock is ticking. To me, that marriage is doomed from the beginning because you were not thinking about the work. You are not thinking about the B side of marriage, right? And I always call this the B side. Cat laughs at me all the time. You know, and any millennials out there, if you've never seen the album, you know, all the hits were on the A side, and all the, you know, we don't think this is going to be a
The
hit
deep ones on the B side. The
on
deep
the B
ones on the B
side, but
side.
they were good. The B side to marriage is the worst, poorer, right, and sickness. Those are the things that challenge you as an individual, and it challenges your marriage. So my first
But
question would be is, why did you
Nisi,
get married, and why did you marry this person? But then the
they
flip
got
side
married for
is,
the
why
day.
did you stay? Why did you stay? Right? Why did you stay? If you stayed because it was cheaper, or we wanted to wait for the kid, you know, all of those things, but it still goes back to that communication, and it goes back to some things, if it's not worth, put it in the work. To Kat's point, you know, the light went out years ago. My thing is, but did we even try? Because I'm not going to divorce you if we didn't even try. See, for me, it's the work, it's the try. Try. And if we tried and it still didn't work, then I'm going to walk away and go, you know what? Let's high five each other. We really tried and it didn't work, and let's end this thing amicable. But if it's just that we just not going to try, that for me is problematic. And if we know all the elephants in the room and we never unpack them, then we've left each other vulnerable, and one of us or both of us are going to seek those needs someplace else. Period. That's what's going to happen.
And on top of that, that's going to roll over into your next relationship because you never took care of it. So you're going to have that excess baggage. But you got to take care of that. So what people don't realize is that, like Nisi said, it's work. And I think people get married for the day. They get married for the white dress. They get married for walking down the aisle, the first dance. They get married for that. They don't get married saying, I'm going to put this work in. And I know that, look, there's time you're going to fall in and out of love with your spouse over the years. And it's like, you know, and me and my wife even had this conversation recently. And it's like, you know, but it's a real conversation to have, you know, and it's like sometimes it could be you as an individual. You're not in a good place at that point, and you just got to find yourself and fall in love with yourself before you can love anyone else. Sometimes there's a point of saying that, you know, I don't know what it is. We lost something. We got to get it back. You know, there's certain things that come about that you got to realize, say, hey, this is what I want from my spouse. My spouse ain't giving it to me. We got to reignite that flame. And it's sometimes you just got to figure out what it is. And people don't take that time out to say, you know what? I'm going to find out why we're not this way and this way no more. I need to find out why we're not this.
That's why talking is so important. People, and that's why, like I said, I'm, you know, partially on, I'm not really on a dating scene, but when I was dating, you know what I mean? Don't do that, Freeman Jones. She's looking the other direction. But when talking and understanding people and telling people up front, being transparent, what you want, what can you tolerate. And Rudy, okay, I started dating at 40 years old. Okay. I have been in a relationship. I'm a relationship girl, right? My first time being single was 40 years old, you know, as I became an adult, things like that, right? So I'm at this point, I need to know what's going on. I'm asking questions. I'm giving you upfront, close and personal. First date, I'm asking you how your credit look. Listen, I need to know, right? So the whole important situation, the whole thing is about talking and communicating. If I'm sitting at the dinner table with a man and we're on a date and he can't communicate properly, or we're not getting a second date. I might block you at the bar. So my point is, you have to be able to communicate. But Rudy and AKFree, here's the thing. And I thank you, Virtual Diary, for coming on here and giving us this, giving us the opportunity for this to help, for us to host a safe space for you. But I don't know if she's a runner or she a track star. You see what I'm saying? Because some people are runners and track stars throughout their whole life. As soon as an obstacle come, that song, well, she a runner, she a track star, right? She's gone, right? Some people cannot deal with the real and the obstacles and the hurdles that they have to go. They don't want to do all that. They just want to keep it pushing and keep it moving. And if it don't align with them, they skate, they're out.
Yeah.
So you have to self-evaluate. And Rudy said that. He said it's about self-love. Once she understands and loves herself to the point where she will not tolerate any foolishness, that she knows exactly what she wants. And all marriages, and I have never been married, but I learned this from Touré Roberts, that all marriages are not ordained by God. Okay, because if it's ordained by God, then it would be like your daddy and your mother, Rudy. Okay, the marriages that end in divorce, they weren't ordained by God. They was ordained by them two people that got married. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to determine if the man that you married, and you married him for the right reasons, if he make a mistake, then you're not gonna throw him away that fast. So maybe she may not marry
because men I feel are less tolerable
with the idea of being married. And you
I agree with you. I agree with you. AKFree, I agree with you.
Because men are less tolerable. Men are less tolerable. And I do feel this honestly. I think women work through infidelity when it's the male way more than males work through the infidelity when it's us. It's something psychologically about that they can't get past, and I wholeheartedly
it's our ego.
believe that.
It's our ego. It's our ego. It's our ego.
And also, she's 32.
It's also like I know it's like I know it's like somebody like I'm on a couple of on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on a couple of black men married pages, and we talk and everything like that. And one conversation that keeps popping up, which I found to be interesting, is that they always talk about which is worse, a physical affair or an emotional affair. And it's to me, I always say emotional, because you're giving a certain type of energy and level that should be dictated towards your spouse. And that can go either way, man or woman. That's just my opinion. Because you're talking to somebody, being open and honest, and you're not giving that energy and that conversation to your mate. So I think they both have this. They're both up there. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it might be a little bit more. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I don't know, but
here's also the false narrative about not being tolerant. I am not a preacher of tolerate nothing, because there's some things in life you need to tolerate, and you can put that in. Not that doesn't mean you have to accept bad behavior. It doesn't mean that. But when we preach tolerate nothing, that narrows and makes you so linear that you will never ever grow to me. So for example, and we can take, I'm gonna use something that's not even a relationship. When we talk about being culturally tolerable, there was a time where white people had to be tolerable of us being in the bathroom with them. You didn't have to like it. And being tolerable doesn't mean that you like it. Being tolerable means that you deal with it, that you process it, and you have an understanding of it. And how you decide to navigate it is up to you. But when we preach this, particularly to our girls, tolerate nothing, tolerate nothing. No, there's some things you have to tolerate. Like, I have to tolerate that you snore. You might have to tolerate that I snore. Because that's what comes with me. And I know that that's a little thing. But when we keep pushing this, I don't take no foolishness. It's sort of like, if you're going to fall in love with Anissa, if you're going to love Anissa as my spouse, as my kid, as my friend, whatever, I am going to make a mistake. I am going to hurt you at some point. I am not going to have a good moment. And if you love me, that means you tolerate that too, and you work it out with me. And so we have to be careful about this narrative of tolerate nothing, take no food. Again, you don't have to accept bad behavior or abusive behavior or justify or anything like that. But tolerance is way broader than than just not. And I think we need to be careful with pushing that message. And so to my sister who said, I'm a military brat, take no foolishness. Okay, but I would say to you, maybe get some counseling for yourself and think about what the trade-off to living like that and to having that kind of lifestyle may be. You know, because the moment that something occurs, because something is going to occur. Once I love you and you love me, there's going to be some hurt in this thing.
But you
There's
are
going to be some
only,
hurt.
but you are only AKFree. You will only tolerate what you wanna tolerate. Okay, so if I will tolerate, okay, we have a beautiful friendship, a sisterhood, right? And if we make a mistake in our friendship, right? And I tell you about it, and you don't take corrective action, then and if we break up and stop being friends, I didn't really value you as a person, as a friend.
And
right?
You know that's my word, Catherine. You know value, that's my word.
Right. So you have to remember that and I'm speaking, I'm playing devil's advocate for this sister, because maybe she don't value him anymore. Maybe he has done things to her that have demoted his status as her husband to her. So she's young. She's 32. She can it's on and popping, and she can find a man that she actually values and values her. Not saying that he won't do something to her too. What I'm saying is that you have all the time in the world to make these choices. Now, just make sure that when you leave, you're leaving for a set of reasons that you could not tolerate, right? So all I'm saying is make sure that you have a reference point, and make sure you are well researched and well versed before you leave your marriage. I don't care if it was 1 year or 6 years. And because everything that looks, what is it? The grass ain't always green on the other side. But it's somebody for everybody. And maybe his time has come to an end, baby. Everybody got an expiration date.
Or not, you know, or maybe or not, right?
But like we said, you got to put that work in. You got to really put the work in, because some people don't want to do the work.
No, if you don't put the work in,
if you put the work in, it's like, you know, I mean.
But how do you know that diet plan works if you didn't work the plan? So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna use the
you got to put the work in.
I'm gonna use the diet example before I can say this didn't work. I had to work it. I had to actually use it. I had to actually give it a chance. And
you have to exhaust all the possibilities.
And you walk away after 6 years, 37 years, whatever the years is, be able to walk away saying, you really put in the work. You really did. Because to your point earlier, Rudy, if you don't put in that work for yourself individually, or I think you said, Kat, one of you said, then you'll be bouncing around from relationship to relationship. Friends will be coming in and out. And you may miss that person that was for you, because I like what you said earlier about, you know, marriage is being ordained by God. And if it ends in divorce, maybe it wasn't ordained by God. But I would also offer this. There are a lot of things that are ordained by God in our life, and we don't listen to God. And we don't listen to God. That marriage could have ended in divorce and it was ordained by God, but because we didn't listen, or because we didn't keep it as the source of who we are, then we went against God's covenant. And that happens too, right? That absolutely happens as well. And so the thing of it is, what is your marriage rooted in? What is your marriage rooted in? Because the roots, the tree's going to sway, it's going to break off some branches and all that kind of stuff. But what is the tree of your marriage rooted in? That's the word out there for somebody that's preaching tomorrow. What is your marriage rooted in? What is your marriage rooted in, and how deep are those roots? If we only been married 2 years, those roots ain't really planted that deep. 60 years worth of roots, though? Oh, that tree's going nowhere until it just dies. Until it just dies. And so you better determine what you want to be rooted in.
Nowhere. Those roots, once you get past a certain time, you have invested time, you got to really, to me, it's like, you need to come really solid and exhaust all your possibilities when you say you're ready to move on and go.
That's it.
I mean, because if you're not going to sit up there and really like put that work in, it's like, then what did you do it for? It's like, I can't see somebody being with somebody for that long and saying, okay, you might not be in love with that person, but you still love them. And you can still say, well, we got stuff to work on. We still got stuff we want to accomplish. We still got stuff we want to do. It depends. There's phases in life. And like we said, you can get caught up with doing everything for the kids and get away from you. That's real.
Yeah,
that's real. But then after a while, you got to say, you know what? I focus so much on this. I focus on so much on that, that we got away from us. We got to get back to us.
Yeah, a lot of marriages end after the kids are grown and gone, and y'all looking at each other like, "Hello, have we met?" Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's
that's real.
well, that's
yeah.
of course as opposed to let's start dating again. Again, let's start putting out. And I know people just join like, well, what does this have to do with cheating? Because these are all the things that challenge your marriage. These are all the things that challenge your relationship, that open you up to, he not doing it, she not doing it, let me find somebody else that will. These are the things that move you to that, even whether it's just for the moment and you circle back to work it out, or you decide to end it. All of this contributes, which is why this show today was called Unpacking Cheating for a reason, because all of these things are in the bag. All of these things are in the luggage.
Yeah.
So, let's get back to it. So I want yes or no's.
Okay.
Madam and sir. And you all are in a relationship right now. You're in marriages. So, Rudy, if you found out your wife cheated on you, are you getting a divorce? Don't just give me yes or no. I don't want to hear.
No. No.
Freeman Jones, same question. If your husband cheated on you, would you get a divorce?
No.
All right. If you found out your wife kissed a man on the job, Rudy, are you leaving your wife?
No.
All right. So what's gonna make you leave your wife?
If we can't come to a resolution, if we exhaust all of our possibilities and try to work everything out, and we can't come to a resolution, or we can't come to a meeting of the minds, and we can't agree to disagree, and we can't do anything to say we can move on and get past this and work on us, then it's time to go. It's going to take a lot for me. Like I said, I'm only doing this one time. Okay. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot for me. I'm not going to lie. It takes a lot for me.
Freeman Jones, what would make you leave your husband?
Oh, I'm sorry. Abuse. Like I said, me and my wife always said abuse.
If he starts all of a sudden going upside my head, all of a sudden he's being abusive, right?
Yeah.
Then
abuse.
That's going to make me leave. But I'm leaving, though, with a comma, because I'm almost 15 years into this. And so now, because I didn't marry an abuser. So if all of a sudden now abuse is the issue, which is a deal breaker for me, I'm going to remove myself from the abuse, but I'm going to need you to get a CAT scan. Did you have a stroke or something? Like, what just happened to you? You know what I mean? Because that's not who I married, right? And so my answer is I'm not leaving. Now, if you want to leave, that's your choice. I'm not leaving unless it's something, really egregious. Like I found out, that you were a serial killer. Now I can't hang with you with that. I can't, So it would have to be something.
Don't worry about that.
It has to be something egregious for me to decide I'm leaving. But what I can't control is if you decide you want to leave me. But I'm not leaving. I'm leaving. I'm going to work it out. We're going to work it out. And that doesn't mean we may not sleep in separate rooms for a minute. It may not mean there won't be some tears, some hurtful. I'm not leaving. I'm going to put in the work. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I expect for my spouse to do with me. Put in the work. Work for me. Fight for me. That's important. For me, that value, and Kat, know that's my word. If you're not going to fight for me as a friend, as family, as your spouse, that's a big deal for me. We need to fight for this. Let's do it. Let's fight.
I agree.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. And we're gonna fight for this. And if you're not willing to fight this, then what? What did you sign on for?
And the last thing I want to bring up, you guys, is the fact that I read somewhere that a man wrote that he'd been with his wife for 42 years, and over those 42 years, she evolved into 8 different people. Right? And he said she was she was one woman when he met her. She was one woman when they had their first child. She was another woman when she became a grandmother. She was another woman when she left her job and become an entrepreneur. So he had to embrace the different women that he encountered that was his wife. And a lot of marriages don't work because the husband want to stay with the woman he married
My better half.
20 years ago. So that's a great point that he brought up. If you're in a marriage, you have to support that person evolving into another person.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And sometimes, and just like in my own, and I'm going to be transparent, when I left my 12-year relationship, right, he said that to me. He said, you're not the same person that I met when you were 26, right? So he didn't want me to grow into a different person. And I could not let him stunt my growth. So I had to make a conscious decision, right? So sometimes, like I say, hey, wife, everybody are not in relationships that's plentiful like you all have, right? Sometimes people have an agenda that is selfish and one-sided. So that's why, and we have to look, we were the best of friends. It was all good just a week ago, right? But I knew at that point I had to give up 12 years with the person, right?
Long time.
Because he was not happy with the person that I have graduated into. So I couldn't be with him at that point. And
that's a great conversation. That's
Yeah.
another
That
great
really
conversation
is.
about
Because
growth
me and my
and
wife, we
development.
push each other to get better. Because my wife will look at me like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
You know, and the whole and we, you know, that's the one thing I love about her. You know, and she, and I'm not saying it because she's here with me right now. I'm just being honest.
He been talking bad about me all this time, hasn't he? I know.
Sure, we got it. I have to jump off. Y'all continue this conversation. I have to get to this wine tasting celebration. I know we have to do a part 2. Oh, and White can say he got to go too. So I would tell everybody out there, thank you for joining. Kat, I know we're going to have to do a part 2. I already know it. At some point, we're going to have to do a part 2.
My wife is funny.
Part two. I love it. But thank you guys for coming on. And anybody out there in the audience, if you want to come on, because my 2 co-hosts are leaving, you are welcome to, and we can continue the conversation. But thank you guys. I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you, Kat, for having me.
We'll see you. I'll see you for the next talk.
We're sticking a pin in it.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What? So you gotta tolerate certain things, and then some things just not tolerable. So tolerable. Oh Lord, I said tolerable. But yes. So I appreciate everybody. Anybody want to come on? I'll be here for like 5 or 10 minutes. But cheating is a really, really big issue. Some people can tolerate it, some people cannot. So it's just what you can tolerate. And people, you know what I've learned out there, people? That people will only do to you what you allow them to do to you. So I will say good night. Our hour has passed. And I will see you all for the next Sis Talk Show.